Honorable members, I note that neither the majority party whip nor the majority party whip is present to whip the honorable members. Consequently, the deputy majority leader kindly whip the honorable members to the house.
Honorable Speaker, quorum is now present.
Uh, 30th July 2024 to 30th July 2024 to 30 p.m. sitting. We can now have the order of business.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, before I make a communication, I want to recognize the presence of students and teachers from Holy Rosary, Kokwet Primary School. This is and also the junior secondary learners, that is grade 7 and 8, both from Holy Rosary Kokwet Primary School. This delegation is led by one Mr. Biwot Moses. And also the teachers, we have Madam Janet Mais. We have Eliud Kipkoech, and lastly, Angeline Acheng. So in a special way, you welcome to the County Assembly of Nandi, where we oversight, we legislate, and also represent the people and electorates from Nandi. So at this particular opportunity, I will wish to give an opportunity to the area MCA where the school is situated, that is Kosirai Ward, to welcome the students and the teachers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to welcome our learners from Holy Rosary Kokwet to this assembly. Feel welcome, students and the teachers. You are welcome to this assembly. You are welcome to learn more about what is happening in this assembly. I first of all thank the Department of the Sergeant who have really carried them on the issues that they wanted to learn. So as we continue, you are welcome, boys and girls. We know that you are the upcoming leaders in the future. So thank you very much for visiting here. You are all welcome. Thank you.
We can have the majority leader, and the very last is the chairperson education, if present. If is not present, you can have a member from that particular committee. Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to welcome the Holy Rosary School, that is Kokwet, Honorable Speaker. I want to welcome them to this assembly, this great assembly of Nandi, so that they can learn what is happening in this assembly. Honorable Speaker, we are aware that the school is closed, and most of the schools have now closed, and they are proceeding for the short holiday, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the teachers of this Holy Rosary for finding time so that they can be here to learn many things which is being done in this assembly. We know we have leaders, Honorable Speaker, in this school of Holy Rosary, whereby some will be MCAs, some will be governor, some will be MPs, Honorable Speaker. So we want to welcome them. They should feel welcome. Every time they want to be here, Honorable Speaker, they should be here so that they can learn what is happening in the County Assembly, because this is a replica of the National Assembly. Otherwise, I want to thank them and welcome them. Thank you so much.
I know the chairperson education has just stepped in, but Honorable Musbei, you can have the latitude to welcome the students.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to welcome your visitors, because, you know, Mr. Speaker, when we came in here, whenever students from my ward would come, I would think that they are my visitors, only to realize that since they are in the speaker's gallery, they are your visitors. I want to say I'm very happy. I'm very excited as a teacher, Mr. Speaker. I'm so happy whenever I see students coming around, whenever I see teachers accompanying the students. It reminds me of my times in school, teaching and doing all that these teachers are doing. That the students have come, or rather that the pupils have come with the teachers, this means well, or rather spells good for this house, because they come to learn something, the good things that we have in this house for the county of Nandi and the country at large. So I want to just say that the school, the Holy Rosary School, is a renowned school, and they have a track record, Mr. Speaker. Coming here today is going to inspire these young Kenyans. It's going to inspire the teachers. It is rare, Mr. Speaker, for students, pupils to come to this assembly. I've tried even in my local primary school to invite them. But at times it becomes difficult. When you have such a group coming around, it is great honor, and it shows the passion they have, particularly in leadership matters. And I want to say that this assembly is in safe hands, especially when we have young people like those ones, aspiring that one day when we shall no longer be here, some of them will be in here on our behalf. Some teachers also, and I know it cannot be 2027, some teachers seated there will be MCAs someday after 2027, Mr. Speaker. So I want to encourage them that nothing is impossible. It is possible. I was a teacher, and today I'm here representing the people of Kaptumo Kaboi. You can also do the same in future, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, and most welcome, Mr. Speaker.
So on my own behalf and on behalf of the County Assembly, you highly welcomed. Further honorable members, I also take this opportunity to welcome you back to the normal County Assembly sittings. I know the short recess has given each one of us an opportunity to engage with the electorates, have time with our families, reflect, and also recharge for a new session. Honorable members, we remind ourselves the provisions of Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya that bestows this House with the mandate to undertake the oversight role, the legislative role, and also the representation role. Honorable members, to operationalize the constitutional provisions, Section 14 of the County Government Act and the County Assembly Standing Orders have provided for creation of committees to discharge the mandates. We have a collective responsibility, but let us also note that we shall be held accountable as a House and at individual level. In the exercise of our oversight mandate, we have individual and collective responsibility to ensure that all county government officers discharge their public service duties in accordance with the law, and that public resources are utilized in a prudent manner. Honorable members, we are also required, or rather you're expected to formulate legislative documents to give effect to the devolved functions as we perform our legislative role. Honorable members, we also understand that there are matters of public concern that requires the attention of the House, and the same should get its way to the plenary. You as representatives of those concerns by members of the public surrounding governance, service delivery should get its way at the House through the petitions. We have the motions, statements, and other legal mechanisms. I therefore, honorable members, urge us to address the public concerns through the above stated avenues. This House will not only be fulfilling its constitutional mandate by standing up to defend and protect the public against non-addressed public matters. Finally, honorable members, we had long and heavy rainy season, which has rendered many roads impassable, and majority of people are farmers. I therefore call upon the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure Committee to work tirelessly in ensuring that the executive moves with speed in addressing the conditions of roads in the county. The Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources should also be pushing for implementation of the departmental projects on water harvesting and protection of wetlands for posterity, as well as focus on the other projects. I call upon all other committees also to dispense with any pending matter to give room for upcoming activities. Honorable members, as we progress, we hope that we'll take up our roles and attend to our duties diligently. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable members, I note that there is an appendix on our order of business as regard the response to statements. Clerk, you can read the first item on the follow-up on responses to statements.
Follow-up on responses to statements. A, statements on the status of payment of pending bills and work in progress sought by Honorable Bridget Songok on 12 September 2023. The statement was sought from the Chair Committee on Implementation.
Honorable member from Olesos.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to record my reservations regarding, first of all, Honorable Speaker, the entire list, because it's not complete. There are so many statements that we've sought. However,
Honorable Isaiah Minor, I'll wish that you address yourself to that particular issue. Yes, it is within my knowledge that
yes,
the appendix does not capture the entire list of the statements that have been sought by the members of this Honorable House.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the guidance. But that was just a background, because I also wanted to say the following, that the Secretariat of this Assembly, headed by the clerk and all the clerks, you would already be aware, Honorable Speaker, that whenever these statements are sought, we hand it over to the Secretariat and the clerk writes to the necessary department. So the reason why I am saying this, Honorable Speaker, is that I have the feeling that this house is being taken for a ride. Because whereas we already have this statement, the apparatus headed by, I don't know whether it's yourself, then at least, unless it is supposed to be for purposes of show, I don't understand why this should come to me. Because the secretariat of this house, which is fully employed, permanent, and pensionable, how is it that they have not given us the information? How is it that they have not followed up? Because this was in squarely, like for instance, this particular statement, the statement number A, and I know there is also probably some others that I asked, they are squarely with the secretariat. It's supposed to facilitate us. So I have a serious issue with this because the clerk, either of the assembly or of the committee, there is something that is not entirely right there. So I wish, Honorable Speaker, that we take some measures to ensure that this house works a little bit more efficiently than it is doing right now. Because when we set out on this, immediately the
Point of
letter
order,
went.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable,
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
already Honorable Matata is raising on a point of order, and what standing order, Honorable Kerich?
Number 90. Mr. Speaker, sir,
Yes, Honorable Kerich.
I'm standing on the order number 90. Mr. Speaker, sir, is it in order for the honorable member from Olesos and the chairman implementation, in status of responding on the issue that he has been addressed to, is it in order for him, and can he justify on the issues touching on the secretariat of this house? Is it in order, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Isaiah Maina.
I do not know whether the honorable member, honorable speaker, has used this standing order correctly, because I did see what he is challenging. However, in terms of what I have said, the reason why I have spoken the way I have done, honorable speaker, being very cognizant that the originator easily of this, the person who wrote this,
Point of order.
sits.
Honorable,
Just protect me. I need to make my case.
Honorable Maina.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Before you raise your point of order, Honorable Tarbey, honorable members, I need to guide this house. Honorable Isaiah Maina, remember that it is the responsibility of the chairperson to make follow-ups as regard to the response to statements. When we refer statements that have been sought by the honorable members, we refer them to the chairperson in charge of a particular committee and not the secretariat. So, Honorable Maina, please proceed.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Under what standing order, Honorable Tarbey?
Understanding order 174, Honorable Speaker.
Well,
Mr. Speaker, is the honorable member for Olesos, who also doubles up as the chairman for implementation, in order, Mr. Speaker, to mislead this house that the powers of responding to statements belong to the Secretariat, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the same standing order 174 says powers of the committees, Mr. Speaker. And powers number 1, Mr. Speaker, is that the committee shall enjoy and exercise all powers and privileges bestowed upon the Assembly by the Constitution and Statute, including the following powers, Mr. Speaker. 1, to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing information. Mr. Speaker, the statement was sought on Committee on Implementation, and the chair for implementation is being asked to give information. He has the powers to summon the relevant people, Mr. Speaker, under this standing order. Power number 2, Mr. Speaker, the power to enforce the attendance of witness and examine them under oath, affirmation, or otherwise. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member should withdraw and tell the committee whether he has not been able to discharge his mandate rather than shifting the blame to the Secretary. Mr. Speaker, what my understanding is that the Secretariat is just there to assist the committee, Mr. Speaker, but the powers is with the honorable members and the committee members, Mr. Speaker. So the honorable member is, Mr. Speaker, is in order to mislead the public that it is now the clerk and who are failing, Mr. Speaker. Yet the powers squarely rest on the committee, Mr. Speaker. Is he in order, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am, of course, aware about what the Honorable Member for Nandi has just read. I'm very acutely aware of that. And I was going to address myself to that if you had allowed me, Honorable Speaker, to just make my case. However, I wish to say the following.
Honorable Isaiah
on this
Maina.
question.
Honorable Isaiah Maina, you've been called to either retract that you're now shifting the blame to the Secretariat. You either withdraw that before you proceed.
I didn't do that, Honorable Speaker. I never said that the responsibility of doing what the Honorable Member has read, I never made such assertions. That was not what I said. Let me clarify. I said that whenever the way the business of this house is done is not, there is a certain method we use. And I was saying this, Honorable Speaker, that...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Under what standing order, Honorable Mosbey?
I think for lack of a better standing order, let me use standing order number 90. Mr. Speaker, I'm having a feeling that you are giving Honorable Maina a lot of airtime to address us over other matters that is perhaps concerning him, or whether this house or not. And Mr. Speaker, because the Honorable Chair, and I don't know whether this committee has got all its membership, is, in my opinion, he has no response, Mr. Speaker. And you should just, because...
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable...
may I ask, Honorable Speaker, you see, it would be fair only if you were to protect me, because if
Honorable Maina, you've heard from the Honorable Member from Kaptumo that you were protected by the chair.
Honorable Speaker, he has stood up and he cites without necessarily coming. And I would like to finish, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member from Olesos have admitted his sentiments.
Okay.
And therefore, you...
I stand guided. Honorable Speaker, may I say this regarding this question? 12 September 2023. Yes, there was a statement sought by an honorable member, cited. And may I also add, Honorable Speaker, that up to now, we have not received any communication. But however, I would also like to say this to the House, that we will pursue the issue along the lines as adduced by the Honorable Member from Nandi. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Maina, when should we expect a response of that particular statement?
I would like to undertake, Honorable Speaker, that when we leave this House today, I'll be giving very firm instructions. And I do hope, Honorable Speaker, that there will be no weak link. And so that by next week, maybe, first of all, in the next sitting, or probably in the next 2 days, we could have a tentative communication. And then next week, we'll give this House, what we will have found. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Any comment before I make directions on that from the House? Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the history of this House, having served in the first county assembly, Mr. Speaker, I was the chairman for implementation. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm that this House, that the engine of all the committees is chairman for implementation. I want to sincerely beg the chairman for implementation.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Under what standing order, Honorable Maina? Honorable Tarbey, you may remain seated.
Under accuracy of facts, could the Honorable Member clarify what he uses to say that the Honorable the chair of implementation is the engine? Could he cite where he's reading that from? And if it is not there, could he apologize and withdraw?
Honorable Tarbey, are you able to substantiate that the chair implementation is the engine of all the committees?
Maybe, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member is seated behind me, but I say the engine in quotes, Mr. Speaker. So, with sign, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, any assignment and deliberation in this House, Mr. Speaker, is directed to the implementation committee to follow up, Mr. Speaker. So it means for anything to take place, assuming we have passed resolution and legislation, Mr.
Point
Speaker.
of order, Honorable Speaker. I wish, first of all, that he clarifies the first one. And this other one, that when he says any business is directed to...
Honorable Maina, I want you to be very keen and patient as he prosecutes his submissions. Thereafter, I'll give directions whether the Honorable Member from Nandi is out of order or otherwise. Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, why I'm focusing on the Committee on Implementation, Mr. Speaker, is that I think our standing order is very clear on the mandate of the Committee on Implementation, Mr. Speaker. And that's why, even, Mr. Speaker, that's why the Honorable Member also the statement directed to the Chairman of Implementation, Mr. Speaker. I wish I had my standing order, Mr. Speaker. So this is a committee which we rely. All the departments, Mr. Speaker, especially other committees, whenever a resolution is done in this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, it's upon the Chairman of Implementation to follow up on the status of the same. That's why I'm pleading with the Chairman that maybe, Mr. Speaker, with what is happening, or even when we went for short recess, Mr. Speaker, a lot of things are happening, Mr. Speaker, and the people of Nandi are watching upon us. So if we need to serve the people, Mr. Speaker, that's why I was pleading with the opportunity you gave me to make some comments that as the Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, we are really employing on the implementation committee led by the APO chair, who is the Honorable Member for Lesos, that they should, Mr. Speaker, rise up to the occasion and follow up on the matters, Mr. Speaker, pending before this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I note that the provisions of Standing Order 192.3, that is the Committee on Implementation. It provides that the Committee on Implementation may propose to the County Assembly sanctions against any member of the County Executive Committee who fails to report to the relevant select committee on implementation status without justifiable reasons. And I therefore find that the honorable member from Nandi is not out of order.
Honorable Speaker, since he mentioned me, could I then just for record?
Well, proceed.
For record, that there is not a single sectoral committee, and I'm happy that you mentioned that. There is not a single sectoral committee that has ever forwarded any complaint for us in order to undertake the sanctions. And it is indeed true that the primary role rests with the sectoral committees. It is only when they come out and say they are finding challenges. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can also contribute towards what Honorable Olesos has just mentioned. Even me, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Keter, I knew that was coming. Probably, Honorable Minor, I knew that I read the mind of the honorable member, and he meant the honorable member from Olesos, and not the honorable Olesos. Honorable Keter, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for protecting me. You know,
Honorable Speaker, the honorable member is saying that you are protecting him, yet you are just trying to help him. Could he be
honorable
gracious?
members, you understand the rules of this house. Honorable Keter, you should have freezed. That notwithstanding, proceed. I was just trying to help the honorable member from Chemundu, that he meant honorable member from Olesos and not honorable Lesos. Please, yes. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In this case, Mr. Speaker, I've also stand so that there are so many statements that has been sicked in this house, Mr. Speaker. There is a time we ask about those works that have not been begun in our ward, Mr. Speaker. And the only person who is supposed to give us answers, Mr. Speaker, it is the chair of implementation. Because in my ward, Mr. Speaker, we have a bridge called Kiptoros, which has been budgeted for. It has just been there for almost 2 financial years, Mr. Speaker. And then we seek that statement, Mr. Speaker. We have also seek another statement, Mr. Speaker, with agriculture. Because we ask about this flocker and nativity that it is going on, Mr. Speaker. How much has been costed and how much is being spent and how the operation is being done with the same, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you go to our wards, there are a lot of activities that it is being run without duly done. Whenever we ask the honorable member, he should be the one actually responding for those ones because it is in charge of implementation. Which means, Mr. Speaker, if we cannot be assisted with the chairman and the entire committee for implementation, then, Mr. Speaker, we have none than being asked, Mr. Speaker. Because I cannot go directly, Mr. Speaker, and ask the CC in charge of all those things. I must go through the chair for implementation, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, the chair of implementation should accept the responsibility and answer us, Mr. Speaker. And since, Mr. Speaker, I can see the chair also for agriculture. There is a statement we asked the other time, Mr. Speaker, on this this project of chicken, Mr. Speaker. Whether the same operation, Mr. Speaker, they are operating, and I have seen people calling themselves Kolongei, Mr. Speaker. I'm still asking the question, did we really approve in this assembly, Mr. Speaker? That is a question we have been asking Chair for Agriculture, and he keeps on sweeping the same blame, Mr. Speaker. which means we shall be asking questions that they are not responding, Mr. Speaker. He should respond, Mr. Speaker, because even our electors are asking me every day, which criteria did you use to choose one circle to that facility, Mr. Speaker, while the money for the county government is being used, then they end up only choosing, and they didn't bring it to this house, Mr. Speaker, so that we approve or we reject. I think it is our mandate, Mr. Speaker, anything that it touches the county government operation, we should approve, Mr. Speaker, or reject. So in this case, I still do the follow-up, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Honorable members, you know how these statements are supposed to be sought. I'm not expecting that you can be able to approach the chairperson implementation in your capacity without necessarily having it, raised on the floor of the House, so that the same can be referred to a committee for a proper response. That notwithstanding, honorable members, we understand that the primary role of any department rests with the sectoral committee, and the chairperson, or rather the committee on implementation, comes in as soon as the sectoral committee has raised concerns that they are unable to address a particular issue. That is when the chairperson and the committee as at large can propose sanctions against the CCM member in charge of that particular department. Honorable members, that said, I now direct that the chairperson implementation, that next week on Thursday, you'll be able to provide a response as regard that particular statement. We can move into the next statement.
Statement on the role of county government on overseas education program sought by Honorable Isaiah Maina on 19 September 2023. The statement was sought from the chairperson, Education and Vocational Training Committee.
The honorable member from Nandi Hills.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can respond to what Chairman of Implementation had asked on actually last year, 19th of last year, Honorable Speaker. According to my understanding, Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that the response that was sought by Honorable Isaiah Maina, the Chairman of Implementation, concerning our county government of Nandi department concerning the overseas program, we as a department we had addressed the said issue concerning the overseas program, and I'm cocksure, Honorable Speaker, with our committee clerk, she has the recording, the record and the statement that we sought, that we respond concerning it last early this year, and as a county we no longer have the overseas program. Anything concerning the overseas program, it was stopped, and there is nothing that we deal or we support the overseas program as a Department of Education as far as education is concerned, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Honorable member from Nandi Hills. This particular statement will not have found itself on the order of business today if at all we had answered records over the same. And if you still maintain the position that you've responded, we beseech you that in tomorrow's sitting, you'll be able to make that particular response on the floor of the House. Honorable
just to emphasize what our chairman has said, Mr. Speaker, we had a consultative meeting with the Department of Education. And it was in that consultative meeting with the Department of Education in the entire house that the matter that had been raised earlier on was addressed. So it was needless for the chairman to still come up with a statement.
Honorable Mosbe, you out of order. Honorable Mosbe, you totally out of order. If that is the position, honorable member from Nandi Hills, just kindly make attempts and make a response on the floor of the house for record purposes and also for Hansard purposes, and probably for comments by the members of this August House. Honorable Rubetti, is it still on the same issue?
Yeah, it's still on the same issue.
But I think I've given directions, honorable members. We can proceed to the next statement. Probably you'll have time to comment as soon as the honorable member from Nandi Hills makes a formal response on the floor of the House. The next statement, please.
Statement on operationalization of coffee mill at Cheponet, Songoso Bawat, sought by Honorable Raymond Chelule on 12 October 2023. The statement was sought from the chairperson, Agriculture and Cooperative Development Committee.
Honorable member from Lelwoko.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I saw that we had two statements, that from Honorable Chelule and the other one from Honorable Gevolo, but give us 1 week so that we can respond to that, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I want us to take the affairs of this House with the seriousness that it deserves. Honorable Chairperson, this is a statement that was sought on 12th October 2023. It's just 3 months, and we'll be doing another here before we get a response to that particular statement. You've sought for 2 weeks, Honorable Member, in all manner of fairness. Probably you can have 7 days and respond to this House over the same.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
So that maybe the chairman can give maybe his response. There was the statement I had sought, and he tabled it on the day we were going for recess, Mr. Speaker. And you had directed that when we come back, he will still come up with the same statement so that we react. Mr. Speaker, I was unsatisfied. The manner in which the chairman tabled the statement, it was quite unsatisfactory. At personal level, Mr. Speaker, I've tried reaching him to share with me the content of the statement, but it has not been forthcoming, Mr. Speaker. And this is about the human resource in the Agriculture Department of Agriculture. The haphazard promotions, the unclear manner in which the staff there were being promoted, others have stagnated, and so we wanted to understand. But I remember that day, Mr. Speaker, the chairman came to this House with some voluminous paperwork, which he said he cannot be able to read through the entire list. And I asked him to share with me, but to date, Mr. Speaker, it seems now we are sweeping that under the carpet. And the chairman should not be let to go on this, Mr. Speaker, because it is about the lives of those staff who are doing a very commendable job, by the way, interacting with the members of Agriculture Department. This, the chairman, Mr. Speaker, is doing a disservice to them if he's going to treat the matters that came from that committee in such a casual manner, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Isaiah Minor, under outstanding order.
You know, when a member, Honorable Speaker, begins to say that the chairman is doing us disservice, is that bordering on probably discussing the conduct of an honorable member and casting an improper motive. Maybe the honorable member could just ask what is going on so that the chair, without necessarily having to discuss something that seems to cast doubt on whether the honorable chair has the capacity. Yet we know that all the members in this house have capacity to discharge the duties. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mosbey. Are you discussing the conduct of the chairperson, agriculture?
Mr. Speaker, when the chair of a committee brings a report, then he doesn't go through it so that I, who sought the statement, understands it. I couldn't say it, I can't say it in any other words other than to say he is taking the matters casually.
Honorable Mosbey, I was giving you the latitude just to apologize to the House for discussing the conduct of your colleague, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, this is the opinion of Honorable Shangu. It is for you to rule.
And that is why I thought I was giving directions because
okay,
Mr. it appears that you're discussing the conduct of your colleague, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker,
I was expecting that the best that you could do is just to apologize to the House for that.
Let me apologize, Mr. Speaker. And I withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
That notwithstanding, Honorable Chair, Agriculture, you've had the sentiments of the honorable member that you are to make.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The statement of Honorable Mosbey, we had already sorted, and we tabled it here, but he needs the all the report, and I had requested him to go and get in the registry the whole document.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
You can see, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
Honorable Chair, Agriculture. Honorable Chair, Agriculture, when a statement is sought, it is for the benefit of the entire House. And therefore, for you to give directions to the honorable member to go and get the document elsewhere is improper, and therefore you should just favor the House, you know, where to place the document. And remember that any document that has been presented to this House is a public document. The same has to be shared with the public. And at no given time will you expect the members of the public to go where you've directed the honorable member, go get the entire document. So honorable member, just make good and provide the entire document to this House.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
You want to raise a point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Under what standing order, Honorable?
84, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, you can be upstanding.
Mr. Speaker, when the honorable member for Lelmo Kwangejek was given time to respond to statement sought by Honorable Jelule, he went ahead and answered even the statement sought by Honorable Geoffrey Kevolwe, and that's why I'm rising on the standing order number 84, part 2, Mr. Speaker, which says, it shall be out of order to anticipate the debate of a motion for which notice has been given. Mr. Speaker, I don't know if this applies also to a statement, because in the order paper, Mr. Speaker, the statement sought by Honorable Kevolwe is still far ahead, but the honorable member has sought time to respond to the same statement, Mr. Speaker, when he referred to Honorable Kevolwe. So is the honorable member in order, Mr. Speaker, because he is anticipating a statement which is yet to be read by the clerk at the table, Mr. Speaker. So maybe, Mr. Speaker, you should call the member out of order, Mr. Speaker, because we have not reached that statement, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member from Lelmokwa, did you mention anything to do with the statement on employment of agripreneurs?
Okay, Honorable Speaker, I was responding, requesting that a statement sought by Honorable Jelule give us 1 week so that we can respond on that. And the other one, when you go through, I'll respond to that.
Honorable member, what the chair is asking is, did you make a reference to that particular statement? Is it yes or no?
Okay, according to that, Honorable Speaker, let me apologize so that I can respond to that when the times reach start, Honorable Speaker.
I think that is settled. The honorable member is out of order. Therefore, let's proceed. You granted a week to respond to the statement sought by the honorable member from Songo Soba. The next statement, Honorable Clerk.
The statement on payment of contracted roadworks and attendant payments by the county treasury sought by Honorable Isaiah Minor on 21st March 2024. The statement was sought from the Chair, Finance and Economic Planning Committee.
Honorable Chairperson, Finance, Honorable Birech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I confirm that actually the committee is in receipt of the settlement sought by Honorable Isaiah Minor. Honorable Speaker, the same we have written to the department in charge of finance and economic planning. And actually, I expect the feedback probably in the next 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker. I request that we give us time until after next week we can report same back to this Honorable House. Thank you.
Honorable members, I understand that when we're referring these statements to committees, I always take my time to ask the chairperson what period of time should he or she be given before that particular statement is responded to. You've always been seeking for 7 days, 14 days, and you'll now imagine from the month of March to date, how many 7 days have you been granted? And I also note that the chairperson finance, you had also sought for 14 days when I made a communication over the same, and today again you asking for 14 days. I want us to make responses to these statements. Remember that the honorable members, they are doing their oversight role, they are doing their representative role, and in the event we don't respond to these statements that are sought by honorable members in terms of representing the electorates, we are doing this injustice to the electorates. Any comments on that before I give directions? Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, basing on these old statements, Honorable Speaker, which has been sought by honorable members, and some of the statements is for last year, Honorable Speaker. Actually, it becomes sad, Honorable Speaker, because some are overtaken by events, and maybe because the way Honorable Chairman Finance has said that he has already written a letter, no response. So, Honorable Speaker, I think we should take this county assembly seriously, Honorable Speaker. And I think it is better we can even use the way Honorable Minor say that some of the clerks maybe are not doing their work, Honorable Speaker, which actually is a very grave matter, Honorable Speaker, because when you find a clerk maybe doesn't work on these issues, Honorable Speaker, the assembly doesn't work. So, Honorable Speaker, I request you that you can also direct that you speed this issue, Honorable Speaker, so that even we can amend that the standing order, Speaker, and get a CC coming to this assembly and respond, Honorable Speaker, so that we can avoid all these measures, Honorable Speaker. Because finally we can find all the statements which has been sought by members, we are not getting any response, and the members of the public are served as Honorable Speaker, so it's a challenge. So I think we should actually address the issue of amending the standing order so that the CC himself or herself can appear here as a person so that he can respond to these issues, Honorable Speaker. That's my request, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member from Kapsabet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I want to slightly differ with the Leader of Majority. Honorable Speaker, this issue before this House today, when you see the first, second, and the third statement, they were sought last year, 12th September 2023, 19 September 2023, 12th October 2023. Mr. Speaker, the issue is about us. The issue is about us. Let us not shift the blame. Because I remember, Mr. Speaker, when I was still the chairperson administration, and the statements that were sought by the honorable member from Molesos, when we hit a snag as a committee, we came here and requested the honorable speaker to direct that the department faces the committee on general oversight. And that is exactly what happened, Mr. Speaker. So I want to humbly request all of us as honorable members, let us take the business of this House seriously. Because there is no committee, apart from the Committee on Roads, that has requested this House, Mr. Speaker, you as the Speaker of our Assembly, that has requested or make any communication that they have challenges working with the departmental committee, the departments, Mr. Speaker. So I want to humbly request all the honorable members, let us take the businesses of this House seriously, so that whenever we have challenges, we face them. Because if we don't push these people, they will always take us for a ride. Currently, as we are here, we have a lot of challenges that are facing our electorates. Some of these honorable members that we are elected, we are being abused because of somebody who is not performing his or her duties. So my request is, honorable members, the collective responsibility that is bestowed upon us, let us take up the matters and be serious on all the issues. Because now we are live. We are live on YouTube. And the public are hearing that we are still talking on statements that were sought last year. It is now 1 year down the line. It is actually a shame on our side. So, and we have all the powers. Constitutionally, we have all the powers to do what is supposed to be done by this assembly. It is maybe we are not taking, but I want to request, going forward from today, any committee that is facing any challenge working with the department, come forward so that we can take the matter collectively with the assistance of our Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And honorable members, I think I've made a number of communications while seated as a chair as regard on how we need to respond to these statements. I have asked the chairpersons that if they're facing difficulties, there are other avenues on how to have the issues solved. And as submitted by the honorable member from Kapsabet, none of the chairpersons in whose docket the statement has been referred to has ever referred or rather made a concern that they are unable to make responses to those statements. And I note that at some point we were to pose some sanctions to the chairpersons of those committees, but that notwithstanding, let's take the matters of this House seriously. So honorable member from Chairperson Finance and Economic Planning, kindly within 7 days, let's have a response to this. And the very last statement on the order of business.
The statement on the employment of agripreneurs for National Agriculture Value Chain Development Project, sought by Honorable Geoffrey Kefolwe on 28 May 2024. The statement was sought from the Chairperson, Agriculture and Cooperative Development Committee.
Honorable Member from Lelmokwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm requesting that you give us 14 days so that we can respond to this statement.
Honorable members, at times I wonder why we're requesting for more time when this is very particular. This is very particular on employment of agripreneurs for National Agriculture Value Chain Development Project. That notwithstanding, Honorable Member from Lilmokwa kindly make attempts and have it responded within 7 days. Is that okay, or?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. We shall do so.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Member from Olesos.
Honorable Speaker, before we move from this order, I wish also to request you to, I would like, first of all, to thank you for the business committee for coming up with such a list. Could we then now have a more comprehensive list so that we can dispense with all of them? And I wish also to request the House, noting that, and being acutely aware that they expect quite a bit from me and from us, the Committee of Implementation, and noting also what you read earlier on, Honorable Speaker, regarding the powers to sanction. Maybe at this juncture, if it is the wisdom of the House, now that we have so much that has been pending for, there are so many things that have been pending for long, any committee that wishes, therefore, for us to sanction anybody who is uncooperative, I wish to say that I am available and that I am ready to sanction anybody who fails to do it. So I would like to concur with the Honorable Member from Kapsabet that we are available. We will do it. And then I would like to, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, to say that there is a similar statement that we had sought from the Department of Agriculture, the Committee on Agriculture, which was brought in as a report, but was not presented to the House. So, and I think the chairman had already indicated that he will be presenting the same. So I would like to implore that all these matters, even including, Honorable Speaker, you remember that there was a time we had the General Committee on General Oversight, and we did not agree on whether we could entertain the Service Board, the CEC on administration. We could not agree. And so finally we let them go. And we have not pursued the matter to conclusion. We even had the roads. The whip, Honorable Whip, has alluded to that bridge. It was captured. And actually I would like to inform this House that we are finalizing our first report. And it captures quite a bit of these projects, their status and where they are. We are just finalizing. We will be presenting to this House in a short while. So I would like, Honorable Speaker, that any matter that has not been concluded, can it be concluded so that the House can stand satisfied that everything that has come to this House is finalized. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sarah.
Okay, it's a point of concern, Mr. Speaker. So we have talked of the statement not being reported at the correct time. But my concern is the quorums in our committees, especially the Committee of Pick and Pack. Every now and then there is no quorum. Every now and then there is no quorum. And, and in that committee, there are a lot of reports that they should handle them. But we have the chair of the committee of Pick and Pack have been raising that concern. But I've seen that there is little that has been done there. So actually, lack of quorums at times also contributes to all these messes that we have right here now. So, and also in the side of the chairman, we cannot only point at the chairman. Even the members of that particular committee should be concerned on all these statements. It should not be left only to the chairperson alone. Even the other members, that is their duty too, to tell the chair, we are supposed to do this and support the chair. And be reminding the chair of what of all these statements. So the chair might not be present, and even the members are there. Let them be reminding the chair that we have a statement here, we have to go about it, and so on like that. So that these things are collective. It is not actually for only the chairperson. But Mr. Speaker, please, I'm still begging on that Pick and Pack committee.
Honorable Sarah Mutol, I hear your concerns, and you know how best to address such issues within the committee. Honorable Talbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I once raised a concern that I had given a proposal that, Mr. Speaker, because statements are sought in the floor of the House, I had given a proposal that the clerks at the table should map the statement to the committee clerks. Then, Mr. Speaker, I also given a proposal that now that in our committee meetings we have the order of agenda, that is the prayer, maybe confirmation of adoption of the agenda. Maybe at some point we should indicate maybe pending statements and motion, because sometimes the chair is not present in the flow of the House. You map it to a member. That member may forget, Mr. Speaker, to remind the chair. So if we can adopt it as part of the committee agenda, Mr. Speaker, that we have in like the order paper, Mr. Speaker, that we have statements and pending, I think it can be it can be helpful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for informing the House, and I know actually that has been the procedure of this House. Honorable Kevolwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to add on what Honorable Mutwala has just spoken about the Pick and Pack committee. Surely we have a lot of volumes that committees has to go through. And Speaker, despite members sometimes sitting and we were given a little bit of time. So I wish that maybe we would be added.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
And our standing order, Honorable Keter. Honorable Kevolo, you may remain seated, please.
Number 90, accuracy of facts, Mr. Speaker. Is it in order for the honorable member to raise concern of whether about the chair Pick and Pack, yet the chair of Pick and Pack is not around, Mr. Speaker, and even the members of that committee, Mr. Speaker, none of them have just write a letter requesting whether they have a problem. Because it is in order, Mr. Speaker, when you find that as a committee, if you don't find, if you find that you have a challenge, Mr. Speaker, you do a letter. None of the above committee, Mr. Speaker, has just raised that concern. It has to be right, Mr. Speaker, because they are raising issues while chairman for Pick and Pack is not around, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, just to close up on these issues of committees, I know we'll be able to discuss these issues within Akamkunji, and therefore let's close up on those issues of committees.
Honorable Speaker, I was still on the floor and he interrupted me.
No, he raised a point of order.
I don't know if Honorable Member is purporting that we don't have, can he substantiate? Because whether the letter was written or not. Because he doesn't know what he's saying. And I can prove on that.
Honorable members, let us
doesn't
handle
know.
each
So
other
can
with
he come-
let us
can he
handle
just
each other
move
with
to this-
decorum. Honorable Kevolwe, what the honorable member from Kapngetun Chemundu saying that you cannot raise issues as regard pick and pack when you've not done a letter to that effect that you've not been having quorums, or rather you've been having issues within the committee. And I think I've directed that as regard issues of committee, we'll be able to handle that within our Kamkunjis. Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Birech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of my chair, who is actually attending on some serious matters, under his consent, Honorable Speaker, I would request that I either move the motion or I defer to the next sitting, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member, what are the instructions that you're having from your chairperson?
Under his consent, he allowed me to proceed with the motion.
Yeah, then execute the instructions as presented to you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of County Public Investment Accounts Committee, pursuant to provision of the Standing Order number 188, subsection 2, it is my pleasure and privilege and honor to present before
Point
this.
about Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Keter?
I would want to know whether the honorable member has just said he has been given instruction, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to see whether there is a letter pertaining to that, Mr. Speaker, instructing the said member, Mr. Speaker.
Under what standing order, Honorable Keter? You
90, Mr. Speaker.
I'm afraid Honorable member standing order number 90 is not applicable. Is not applicable to the present issue.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the only part I'm concerned is that he has just said he has received the instructions, Mr. Speaker, and yet in our papers we don't see that letter, Mr. Speaker, because I'm aware that you should get a letter from the chair, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Birech, before I give directions.
I think Honorable member from Chemundu Kamwetunyi is not, he didn't listen keenly. I said under his consent, and I think underline the term consent, Honorable Keter. Thank you. Honorable Speaker,
Honorable, yes, I know I'm here to give directions to rule on whether the honorable member from Tinderet is out of order or otherwise. Honorable Matata.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I might not be conversant with the relevant standing order, but Mr. Speaker, it is true that the honorable member from Tinderet, even without, he's saying that the honorable member misunderstood what he has said. That consent should be written and signed by the honorable member. Because, Mr. Speaker, when I was the chairman administration, when I delegated the responsibility, I wrote a letter and signed to give powers to the member who was to move the motion. So, Mr. Speaker, that consent should be written and signed. Thank you.
Honorable members, I've keenly had time to look at standing order number 52, where it says that save for a special motion, a member who has a motion standing in his or her name may authorize in writing another member to move that motion in the member's stead. Honorable members, in the absence of an authorization letter or any consent from the chairperson, therefore the honorable member from Tinderet is out of order to move a motion on behalf of the chairperson, Pick and Pack. It is so directed. The chairperson, Pick and Pack. Honorable members, therefore that the chairperson, Pick and Pack, is not present, I will apply the provisions of Standing Order 53, that where no member moves a motion at the time specified by or under these standing orders, such motion shall not again be published in the order paper during the same session, except with the leave of the Speaker. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, there being no any other order of business, the House stands adjourned until the next sitting.